The night watchman sits in his living room with his shades drawn. He no longer has cold sweats, but he can't sleep and his mind races. He tries to distract himself with TV, but it doesn't seem to help. His mind drifts as the TV blares on. There is a man yelling on the screen. He's wearing a suit made out of money. The night watchman starts thinking about money. Dollar bills. What are they but funny little pieces of paper? All these hours upon hours working nights for funny little pieces of paper. But they have value. We all agree that they are worth something. Actually, he thinks to himself, you can't get people to agree on politics, religion, borders, or any number of other things. But somehow, you can get most all of the people in the world to agree that these funny little marks mean something. When you think about it, it's the closest thing to communal love that we as a people have. I guess this is how far we've got, he thinks to himself. Then another thought pops in his head. Why is it that so few people have so much money, and so many have so little? It's as if people have these deep, dark, unfillable holes of greed inside of them, and they could never get enough. The night watchman considers black holes, which he used to think existed out in the darkest regions of space, but just recently learned that they are found in the center of galaxies. Their tremendous gravity is what keeps everything spinning and held together. Maybe greedy people are the same way, at the center of our economic world, keeping all of us buying and selling, consuming, spending, all for their benefit. The night watchman shakes his head. He's not used to thinking about all this stuff. He's a simple man with simple pleasures, but he can't keep these thoughts from rushing in. How can I break this greed, he thinks. He's not a man with a lot of power. But I do have keys to the locks of the park. Couldn't I open the locks and let everyone in? I want everyone else to have the same joy I do watching these fantastic fish perform. And why should they have to pay the exorbitant prices that Olio charges? I will become the new ringmaster of the show that will be free for all. Now to go open the locks. But no one wants to look at my balding head. If I'm going to be the ringmaster, I must look as incredible as my performers. Yes! And the only thing that will do is long, flowing, tentacled hair. And the show can't be an ordinary Olio show. In the spirit of love and togetherness, only thing that will do is a grand spectacle of all the sea life in one giant tank. It's safe to say now that the fly's poison has made the night watchman go quite insane. To the park, he shouts aloud. Now begins a brave new world! Let us throw off the shackles of greed!
And I feel like guys like, hello, I helped you get the loot and you're leaving me in here? Maybe there is treasure inside of this fish.
This is a society where flies aren't allowed, and he's like a drug runner, but for flies. So he sneaks flies across borders in his bag.
It's like a bank robbery took place under the sea. Because to me,
if it didn't have the bank robber.
the bank robber was awesome.
Okay.
I like the bank robber.
No confusion over what
And then the octopus is confused here. He's back in the water, which is good. You can assume that. And the flies here. What is this all about?
The night watchman gets to the park and, feigning sanity, relieves his coworker and mans his post. Once the sun has set and everyone has left for the day, he unlocks all the gates and goes about the business of moving all of the talent into the biggest tank, that of the shark, Mr. Speech. Then, as planned, the teeny-tiny burglar sneaks through the unlocked gate to complete his nefarious deed. The burglar stands on the edge of the shark's tank, pulls out a bottle of barbecue sauce and douses himself, as it is well known that sharks love barbecue. Then he dives in, and not a moment later, Mr. Speech gobbles the thief down in one gulp. It takes all night to gather up the talent. At the first light, the night watchman starts tossing them into the large tank. Clams, seahorses, angelfish, and octopus alike. Mr. Speech, now with a taste of fresh barbecue on his lips, ignores them all. The three-tentacled octopus looks on all of this in amazement. And for the final touch, says the night watchman, putting an octopus on his head, my shiny locks. Upon resting the frightened octopus on his head, the stark reality of the situation sets in, and all of his drug-addled illusions drain away. The night watchman screams in panic. He runs around in hysterics, yelling for help. The only person he finds is a little girl with a big red bow who has wandered into the park. The night watchman runs up to the shark's tank, thinking that if he could just get the octopus in some water, it might come off. Mr. Speech sees the night watchman at the edge of the tank, and hoping for more barbecue, builds up great momentum and jumps out after him, gobbling him up. Mr. Speech flies through the air and over the gate, and across the street. He lands on the sidewalk in a big thump. The tall thief runs up to extract his partner in crime. The little girl with a big red bow runs up as well to see the spectacle. The tall man turns around to see her and pulls out a black vial from his coat with a skull and crossbones painted across it. Just as he's opening it, the old man comes out of the house to see what all the commotion is, sees the flies, and shoots the tall man down. Right before the police get there, the little burglar hops out of the shark's mouth with his prized loot. The police arrive and are almost convinced that Mr. Speech can actually talk, until their superior investigational skills lead them to the fact that the night watchman is stuck inside of him. The reporters get there just as the rescuers retrieve the night watchman. When the news gets back to Paris that one of the Le Couture bandits has been caught, they rejoice. But more newsworthy is the new fashion trend that starts in women's headwear. A new style of hat is all the rage. The old man is hailed as a hero, but the last thing he wants is attention. So the old grump picks up and moves. He finds a place to sublet for the winter in a community called Willow Grove.